Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast, episode 95. I'm Tony. I'm rough as toast. And with me this week, we've got Ben.
Hi, mate. All right. Obviously not.
Evening, mate. I'm suffering a little bit, but I've made it.
Yeah.
James hasn't made it this week. He's got the night off. So I hope you have a good night, James. But it is the transfer special. And as we do each month, we've got Fergi on. Are you there, mate?
I am, buddy. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on.
Always our pleasure,
Thanks, mate.
You haven't told the listeners that you went arse over tit last night. It's probably something you may want to mention.
yeah, suffering the after effects of few too many pints of Peroni. I don't know how I'm going to be standing up all day at work tomorrow, but cross that bridge when I get to it tomorrow. Let's dive into your team, Fergie. We've not heard from you for the last month, so we always like to let you go first. How's it gone?
Yeah, it's been quite good. I've after the World Cup, I was 340k. I had an absolute nightmare, like lots of people. But I tipped for the first time into the top 100k last night, which is quite nice. So I'm 96k now. I noticed my team value as well. I think I've been looking at that a lot more than I usually do, because my team value was absolutely horrendous. It was only, I think it was like 52.8 million or something going into the World Cup, which was obviously a nightmare. But it's up now to 61.7. So I've worked hard. I've manipulated some transfers and things to get that up. And I've had a bit of luck with players like Mahrez and things. But yeah, it's going okay. So I made my fourth and fifth transfer this week, and at the moment my team reads De Gea, Shaw. Shaw has disappointingly missed the last two games, I think. Trippier and Botman have obviously been really, really good over the last month. And I brought in Martinez, the United defender, for Odegaard this week for the price rise and also for the extra fixtures. So I'm on a back four at the moment, which I haven't been for most of the season. I got a midfield three of Mahrez, Bruno Fernandes and Anthony. So I did transfer out Almiron for Anthony this week. So when I saw Anthony was starting, I put him in. He got an assist, which was quite nice. And obviously, I expect him to play the majority of the games. United have got like a lot of games coming up for the next fortnight, so I'm quite happy there. And then the standard front three of Rashford, Haaland and Kane. So we've got 5 United at the moment. No, 6, sorry. 6 United, 2 Newcastle, 2 Man City and Kane. And looking at the fixtures, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit, I'll very likely be getting rid of my final 2 Newcastle defenders, potentially even this weekend. I'll have to give it a bit more thought. But some other teams are looking ripe for investment in February, I think.
Definitely. Smash that budget build there, aren't you?
Yeah, I even did. I even messed around. I brought in Anthony with a transfer, and he had a British game week, so I took him out, swapped him for Bruno, and then I've actually put him in again. But I know that sounds ridiculous, and it is. But I couldn't really use the transfers elsewhere, and it also gained me about 1 million in value. So I just thought, let's just go for it. So I'm really happy. It's definitely been my best month of the season, and I think I'm pretty well set going into February as well. So pretty happy. I think to go to 96k now, it's obviously nothing to shout about. But from where I was 340, I'm really happy. And I still think I may have an outside chance of a top 10 or 20k finish, which from where I was would be pretty insane. So yeah. How are your guys' teams looking?
Brilliant, mate. Right, mine. There's not been much going on this weekend, really. I think we've cup games and not really people starting. I know United went quite strong. Shaw's been missing out. So I got De Gea in the net in this podcast team with Wan-Bissaka, 0 points. Burn and Trippier. Obviously got Southampton Tuesday night, is it? Shaw did not play. Ward-Prowse, second time I've punted on him this season. And the second time he's not going to probably do much for me. Hopefully he gets something against Newcastle midweek. give me a few points. So he's one I am tempted to punch back out, to be fair, see what opportunities lie this weekend. Fernandez, 5 points. Almiron to play Southampton Tuesday. Kane didn't play. I've no transfers left in this side. So Kane did not play, so I couldn't do what I wanted to do. Haaland, 0, and Rashford, 3 points. I think this team's about 19k. But my best side is up to 8th.
Go on, Tony.
I had we're out in Preston, obviously. That's why I'm rough as toast. And obviously Spurs were playing Preston. And I sat with a Preston fan, and he just said we're horrendous at home. I looked at the lineup. I had Kane, my best side. I thought, Son. He might be on penalties because Kane's not there. If they do give Preston a bit of a dicking, usually Son will be involved in that. I wasn't going to do it. I was oohing and ahhing about 5 minutes before. I just went for it. Son. Kane to Son. And then later on that night, I did... can't remember how to took out now. I put Anthony in, which were another... The safer bet was to go with a defender. I was going to put an extra United defender in and try and get back-to-back clean sheets, which Reading and Forest was probably the sensible move. But I thought, if I'm going to have the chance to win it, I thought I just would have put someone who might explode. And he might have grabbed himself a couple of goals just like Son did. So I went for Anthony. He got a 5-pointer, an assist, which is decent. Obviously, they've got the Forest game midweek. And then they ended up conceding, which were pretty nice for me and my best side. So, yeah, up to 8th. I think about 36 points off top.
Flying, mate. Flying. Unbelievable.
One transfer left now in that team. Obviously, Son isn't. He was literally a 1-week punt. I don't think he'll be sticking around in my side. But, yeah, doing great. Excited.
Good work, mate. Really, really good.
Hey, it's a good job I didn't see the text message, because I would have put you off that move.
Yeah.
That Son move.
yeah. I dropped the message, and I just, because I was being out as well, I was struggling to. I had my alarms going off for lineups and shit like that. I couldn't cheer the Son goals because I were in Preston. So I was going to some fist pumps on the table. But yeah, all good. Like I say, that Anthony move, he's not set the world on fire there, has he? But he does love a shot. And
he was man of the match in the actual match yesterday.
He just didn't get the star, man.
No, and he's still only, was he 3.6% owned? So I think with their fixtures, 4 home games on the trot now, I think, is it? Or 3? All good fixtures. He only needs like an assist. Like, you know, if he gets 2 returns in those 3 games, like a goal and assist, or he's well worth it, isn't he? You know, so and that ownership level as well, I really think he's worth a gamble, because if he can have one big game like Son did, imagine he gets like a couple of goals. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that will absolutely fly you up. So I think he's well worth a punt personally.
Definitely, it'd be nice if they put Casemiro in.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Do you know, I was R&Ing because I took out Almiron and I looked at Casemiro, and I could afford him, and I looked at and I think I'd already had my kind of heart set on Anthony. So I can't say I was going to get Casemiro, but he crossed my mind. But do you know what, if Anthony hadn't have started, I probably would have gone for Casemiro. But Anthony started, so I went for him. But he was definitely there. It's funny because in the position he plays, he's not really like he's not really a good option, is he? I mean, you know, he's not going to score 40 yards deflected off a defender's head every week, is he? But he still seems to be racking the points up, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't expect the 18-pointer.
No, exactly that. Yeah,
you expect him to tick along, don't you? With 3-pointers, 5-pointers here and there.
Exactly.
Yeah, an 18-pointer. It's nice for people that have owned him. Right, Ben, how's your team doing, mate?
Yep, I'll just get it up. So I'm on 1,244 points. I'm up to 35k now. This was 275k after the World Cup. So I'm really happy with the progress
Flying.
he's making. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I've made one transfer this week. When I seen Kane didn't play at all, I was umming and ahhing about bringing in a United player for a 4-for-1 over Kane. So, but yeah, I decided to bring in Wan-Bissaka. I didn't go for old veggie horse. I was looking at him, but nah.
Asking for trouble, that is.
I didn't. I did actually bring Vegos in my best team, which is it's now 607th, that team. But yeah, I brought him in. He got a rating, 7 rating. But yeah, I was hoping for a double clean sheet from United, so like maybe 16 points for Wan-Bissaka. So hopefully I'll get the 8 points against Forest in the cup. Yeah, I've got like three Newcastle defenders: Burns, Share, Trippier yet to play, De Gea in goal, midfield. So I'm a 4-4-2 now. Fernandez got an assist, 5 points. Amaron and Joe Linton yet to play. Joe Linton did the business again for me midweek.
Yeah.
Mahrez 0 points, Haaland 0 points, and Rashford got a rating, so 3 points. So I've only got 8 points so far, but I've got a lot of players still to play.
Yeah, they're all very low scores at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got 9 players still to play, so happy with that.
Yeah, good work, mate. Transfers left, one transfer left.
Yeah, 1 transfer left.
It shows, like, with your remaining budget there, how
Yeah,
many good cheap
6.1.
options there is at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Having 6 million just sat aside. Crazy.
Yeah, well, I moved on to Bruno Fernandes last week was it last week or the week before, from Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
It was a 6 for free in the end, so that's why I did it. And I'll hopefully get De Bruyne back in eventually. Might need to get a enabler like Mitoma or something though. He looks
he's
quite
doing
good,
well.
doesn't he?
Awesome, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Odegaard. I've got my eye on Odegaard. He's a nice price.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matoma's. I've only got Matoma in one side as an enabler.
Yeah, me too. One side.
He's been in my FPL team for a while now. He's
Oh,
been
that's
doing
well
right
done.
for me in there. So, yeah, nice. We'll have a run through. In his absence, we'll still have a run through James's team.
Yeah.
He's got De Gea in the goal. He's got Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Burn to play. He had Mahrez 0 points, Odegaard 0 points, Almiron yet to play, and up top, he had Rashford, Haaland, and he obviously took the punt on Son, Kane to Son, paid off nicely.
Yeah.
I think he did say he did it in his 3 best sides. I did it in my 3 best sides. I think my second team's up to 315 for something now as well, so it's might be joining in as a supporting act.
You might be able to differentiate at the end of the season.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
it? Yeah, James hasn't used any transfers up till then. That's why he did it. He said, didn't he?
Yeah,
because he could afford to move back off Son.
Yeah, because obviously the transfer reset this weekend. Is it this week? This Friday?
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah, obviously he's got. Yeah, he could have took a few more punts, really.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then again, he'd probably want to shift on them Newcastle, or start to shift on them Newcastle defenders, I'd say. We'll see what his plans are when he returns next week. Right, the listener questions. Let's have what we got here. First up, Poor and Poker. Have any of your boys' opinions changed on the introduction of the wild card for the World Cup? As one of you has done very well, do you think this could be a good idea for Dream Team going forward? Maybe keeping people more interested. Reckon of the wild card, Ben?
I was quite negative about it before the World Cup, but I think it's been brilliant. For me, I've done a lot better because I've got to been able to change my team. But yeah, it definitely helps people get re-engaged with the game. If you've got a bad team and you can just change all the players, I think it's a good idea. I think hopefully they carry it on next year. What do you think, Fergie?
Yeah, no, I think the same. I was a bit skeptical, but I'm probably the same as you, Ben. My team was a bit of a mess, so it did allow a reset. But I think just looking how it's worked in Sky as well, for those who play Sky, I think it's added a real, a really good twist on the game without having the negative impact of like Sky's normally has 2 overhauls or wild cards, same as FPL, and I don't like those because I think I know there's a balance to be had between player engagement, which is why they do it, and then actually the players who show the greatest skill and and stuff don't really want them because they think they can outmaneuver the opposition. But I do think having one in the middle of the season, I know it obviously naturally fell to the World Cup, but I do think it's been a really positive addition, and I'm hoping they keep it in both Dream Team and Sky. Just the one mid-season
Just the one, yeah.
sort of overhaul, because like I say, you've got that. I think it helps people. So I've had an absolute nightmare this season, absolute nightmare. So I think if I hadn't have had it, I wouldn't have stopped playing because I'm in too many mini leagues and bits and pieces. But I would have definitely lost enthusiasm. Whereas I've definitely got the enthusiasm back now because it's nice to score points, nice to see your team doing well, right? And if I'd have had to keep my pre-overhaul team, it would have got even worse because I didn't have many Arsenal, didn't have any Newcastle. So it gave me an opportunity to get back in. So yeah, I liked it, and I'm really glad doing it, and I hope they keep it going. To be honest, how about you, Tom?
Completely agree with you both. I think even for me, it's been a bit of a help in my best side because before I think I were up at 4th, and then I dropped down to before the World Cup, dropped down to like 660th. I did go. Had quite a few City players in there, and the Newcastle block were hurting me. And I think the United block at that time as well. So it kind of helped me, I think, by being able to refresh the team. So I'm all for it. I like it. I think it was a good addition. It'd be nice if they could just keep it there in the middle of the season. Like I say, we'll keep people engaged, freshens it up, especially if you're falling out of love with it because you've got an awful team. So yeah, hopefully. I mean, it worked quite well. I don't think there were too many cock-ups over it, was there? We were dreading it, thinking the dream teams, the dream team, what do you want to call them? The computer techs at Dream Team would probably fail it for us, but they did all right. Right, Aman, do we have a set Man City defence we can settle on for the February games? Is it ever a settled team for City? As soon as you think there's a settled team, you get burnt, don't you? And you put a player in and you don't play for the next 3 weeks. But what do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, I don't think, like you just said, there's no settled team. I've noticed Pep's starting to take defenders off at half time and giving another player a game in the last few games, but I don't know how long he'll be doing that for. Like, he's been taking Lewis off and bringing on Walker. Ake's been coming off, Laporte's been coming on. I think Stones went off in one game at half time. Laporte come on. Diaz has hardly had any minutes. I think he had about 2 minutes at the end of one game. Cancelo looks like he's not going to get a game at the moment. He played in the Man U game. He started that game with Walker, and obviously they lost the game, so he's gone back to playing the young lad Lewis and Ake back at fullback. But Akanji Stone's probably the most nailed. Ake's getting minutes, and you got a star man at the weekend, didn't he? Scored a goal. So there's lots of value there. You got Lewis 2.9 million, Akanji 3.7, Ake 3.7. So if you wanted to get a few in, you just have to roll with it, and they might not play the full game, but they'll still get the clean sheet points if they come on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If City keep a clean sheet, so it's still worth having a look at them, I think.
Yeah, Fergi.
Yeah, like looking at the teams, which will probably answer the next sort of question as well. I think the two teams I'm definitely looking at for February and Man United and Man City, due to the volume of games throughout February. Man City's don't start really until the weekend of the 11th of Feb. So on the first weekend, they're away to Spurs, which you probably expect Spurs to score, maybe, and then they blank midweek. So there wouldn't be any rush to kind of get them in. But after that, they've got Villa, and then they're away to Arsenal, and then they have Forest, and then Leipzig. So I think maybe even after either the 11th or the 18th, I don't need to rush in, I suppose is what I'm saying, because I think if you're well set with, maybe Man United, maybe even Newcastle, I don't think there's a great deal of upside like early on, because two of those games are away to Spurs and Arsenal, and United have got more games than them. So, and as we know, defence just hasn't, apart from Newcastle and maybe Arsenal, just hasn't worked this season for Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, which it normally does. So I think they will be really good options. I just wouldn't be in any rush. But when they are, I think Ake and Akanji are probably the two I would look at because of their starts and also their price as well. I think they're mega cheap. I think they offer a really good value. But we just can't find clean sheets, can we? They'll, if they keep one clean sheet and concede in the next, it's not really much cop, is it? It's not really worth it. Probably better off spending the money elsewhere, aren't you? So,
yeah. Obviously, I think did Stones go off injured?
He done his hammy. So I think Pep confirmed today actually that he's done his hamstring. So you'd probably guess he'd be a couple of weeks minimum, which should help. Maybe Laporte's minutes and stuff like that. But again, you just no idea who he's going to pick. They've got two back fours, haven't they? And Ruben Dias is back now, so Ake and Akanji for me seem to be the safest two. After that, it's a bit of a lottery.
Yeah, definitely, and they are value for money. Ake and Akanji, still decent prices. Yeah, never safe from Pep Roulette. Obviously, you just touched on that. Fergie, Connor's next question: best teams to target in February. What players would you try to get in if you've got transfers left over for this month? PS, up the community differential. Having a flying month. Is there any players that you'd particularly target if you had a few left over?
Sorry, ahead of to use this week. Sorry, or I would personally be. I have been, and I still will. I think. I just think Man United players look the way to go. Still, they're the team on form. Even though you can see Newcastle obviously on form, Arsenal on form, but United have just got the extra fixtures. They've got fixture every 3 days until like the middle of March almost. So they've got the quantity of fixtures. They're in form. A lot of their players still really good prices. So I think I would. So I've done it. I've done it already. I've already got 6, and I'm more than happy with them. Right. So their first 3 games back will be starting this weekend now. Home to Palace, which is a really good fixture at the moment. Home to Leeds. And they're the only team apart from obviously Leeds and Fulham who have a game next midweek. They then go to Leeds again the following weekend. Then they have Barcelona, which that could go either way. And they're home to Leicester. So the next 6 games or 5 games are just really, really good. And in that time, Newcastle are home to West Ham and away to Bournemouth, which are pretty decent, but what's the maximum you're going to get there? The maximum you get are a couple of clean sheets. You can't get any Liverpool players, Chelsea players. You're not going to go for them, and then Man City. So it's very Arsenal are away to Everton, and then they got Brentford and Man City. But again, I just think there's more upside in Man United at the moment because of the form. So I would go for Man United players personally, just because they've got the good short-term fixtures. and the good medium-term ones as well, and they're all good prices. That's
Yeah.
what I tend to do.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, Man United 8 fixtures this month for February. Man City 7. So they're the teams to target. I'd say with a bit of Arsenal, who've got 5 games, but they've got a possible rearranged game against Everton, so that could be 6. And obviously, Odegaard, Saka are really good prices. And Nketiah as well, if you're struggling for money.
Yeah.
Could be a good third striker. Nailed in the Arsenal front line at the moment. Yeah, players, like you said, United's probably the only team to target for the rest of the week. The Varane, Martinez, Shaw didn't play at the weekend, so they're still unlocked. You got Dallo, who might come back from injury. I don't think he will, though. Probably wouldn't go for him yet because he broke down last time he came back.
Yeah.
So yeah, and up the differential. Come on, Ake, 18-pointer for me.
You got Ake, did you? Oh, good work.
Who did you had a Man City defender?
I think I had a Kanji, yeah. So
Yeah.
I had the clean sheet, but not the
Not
goal,
18,
not the net.
not
Yeah,
18
good work.
pointer.
Who did the community have again?
Was it Mahrez or was that someone else?
Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was
player,
Bruno.
Rashford.
Bruno
Yeah.
Oh,
Fernandes.
it might have been, yeah.
Bruno. Yeah, I completely agree with you both. United, like I said.
Yeah.
3 doubles in a row. They've got the 4-man the fixture quantity, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. I'll be trying to move away a little bit from the Newcastle blocks and other things.
I think I'd add as well, just on Newcastle, there's a really nice switchover point from Newcastle to Man City, roughly around the middle of February, because there'll be a lot of people with block Newcastle defences, and Almiron, Joe Linton, and whoever else. But for the back end of February, it looks like Newcastle are going to have Liverpool, which you could argue is not a difficult fixture, but they're then very likely to have Man United in the Carabao final, and then Man City away on the 4th of March. So that'll be their 3 concurrent games.
Yeah.
So you'd expect them to concede in probably 2, if not all of those games. Whereas that is that time which it coincides nicely with Man City's run of fixtures, say Villa away to Arsenal, Forest, and then Champions League run. And so I was looking at Europe. I was having a brief look on FF stuff. We've only got the Champions League stuff and the Europa kind of qualifier games, but most of the teams have got difficult games. So Liverpool have got Madrid, so there's no point going in on them. Chelsea have got, I think it's Dortmund, and and Chelsea at the back are hardly worth investing in, right? United have got Barcelona, Spurs have got AC Milan. The only team, maybe that Spurs one is okay, but City have got, I think it's RB Leipzig, which potentially could be the best one. So it could even be that going into March, there's only a handful of teams even still in Europe, which is very rare because over the years we've been spoiled, haven't we, with plenty of representation going into March and April. So that's just something to factor in as well. Factor into your thinking, into everyone's thinking. I think it's not just looking at February, but it's also just having a quick look ahead. Because if you've only got Haaland for Man City, for example, City have got a lot of fixtures in February, and they're probably one of the few that's likely to go through in the Champions League to have all these extra fixtures going forward. So just something extra to think about, I think.
Yeah, there's some tough draws there, isn't there, for the English sides. And obviously with Liverpool, Chelsea and Spurs failing really to fire at the minute.
Exactly.
You could very well just end up with Man City. And possibly Arsenal, obviously, they come back in a later round, don't they, because they won the group. So could end up with just City and Arsenal left in Europe. So yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on that going further forward from February. Shout, Lee Hooper. How is that Newcastle backline going to be breached? I'm looking for some divine intervention or something. Anything to get that ball over the line. Penalty takers slipping, pulling off saves out of this world. VAR ruling any goals that are scored out. When will they next concede and how?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? At the moment,
It's crazy.
Insane.
Absolutely crazy. That penalty from Mitrovic, like, what's that? How many times has that happened?
You can't make that out, can you?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they're defending very well as well. They're a very solid side, playing well, but I'm sure it's going to come. Like I said, fixtures. One of them will get there in the end. What do you reckon, Ben? Who's going to be the first team to breach that Newcastle defence?
I think it'd be that Liverpool fixture.
Do you think?
Well, they've got a tough game, haven't they, against Southampton in the semi-final. Like, they're at home. I think the crowd will push them through that, and hopefully they'll keep a clean sheet. But like you say, Southampton have to score to go through, so they're going to be going for it. But it might leave gaps at the back for Newcastle to score. So, and then they've got Bournemouth away, who aren't great defensively, not very good going forward. So maybe the Liverpool fixture, and then they got Brighton after that. So it probably the time to start jumping off there.
Yeah, Liverpool,
Obviously,
Brighton,
the
and Man
fixtures
City.
as well is counting up for the other teams, and Newcastle aren't in Europe, so
That Brighton game will be rearranged for Man United in the Carabao final, assuming they get through.
That's right. Sorry, yeah.
So it'll be Liverpool, United, and City. So, like I say, I
Yeah.
think that's the time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Then, roughly.
Yeah,
Especially since some of the other teams will have 2 games in that week because the Champions League. So Man City, Liverpool, and United will all play twice, whereas Newcastle will just have Liverpool. So.
Yeah, it's all about buying the raffle tickets, isn't it? Getting extra goes at the games.
This is it.
This is it. Quantity required. Right, another question about the Toon block. At the end of this week, would you start planning to potentially leave a full Toon block? Which obviously we've already discussed. Attack the fixtures that are piling up. He has De Gea. Could it be the time to bring a Martinez in for, say, a Burn or a Botman? We covered that already. I think we like I say, Martinez, Wan-Bissaka's pretty nailed now with Dalot being out. Yeah, Varane, De Gea, a nice United block. Start to move away from them, the Toon blocks, especially during that fixture swinging. Aman, what constitutes a successful season in Dream Team? Is it mini league success, or does rank have some importance? Is top 1K in the Sun the equivalent of the top 10K that FPL managers chase? Fergie, an FPL player.
Yeah, it's interesting one. I think with FPL is like there's this perceived prestige of having a kind of certain rank, like a top 10K, which is probably, in all fairness, is not really fair anymore because there's like over 11 million players now in FPL. But I don't know, in Dream Team, I still think it's very much. I think Dream Team, Telegraph, and Sky is still very much engaged play. I think the game allows you to go for the win and also to go and try and win your mini leagues. Whereas I don't think FPL, like the number of decision points in FPL are very minimal. You can make one transfer and one captain every week. I know you can take hits, and I know you can have chips, but once the game week locks out, nothing's in your control. Whereas in all these other games, everything's in your control, and you can react almost every hour. In Telegraph, you can react in between games. If a game starts at 2:45, one starts at 8, you can make a transfer in between. So you're very much more in control of your team. So I think that with that in mind, for Dream Team, Sky and Telegraph, I think the aim is to try and win the game and also to try and win your mini leagues. Personally, like I say, if I didn't come on the pod and if I didn't write my article for the Hub on Dream Team, I probably wouldn't have bothered for the second half of the season from where I was, because what's the point? Because I wanted to win my mini leagues, just an example. Whereas this gives me the motivation to keep on going. But FPL, you kind of almost have to keep on going because there's like this bloody prestige thing attached to a certain finish in there, and stuff. So
yeah, it's all recorded, isn't it?
Like, exactly.
History.
So the long answer, the short answer on Dream Team is I think it's mini leagues.
Yeah.
Personally, I do anyway. I don't. I don't. You know, I don't. Well, even before the year I won it, I didn't know what my overall rank was previously before that because I didn't care because it was all about mini league. So
Yeah. That's it. Play to win the dollars in your mini league.
that's
You
it.
reckon, Ben?
Yeah, agree. Mini leagues is the main thing. Go for your mini leagues, and then your rank will be good after that because you're doing well in your mini leagues.
Yeah.
Top 1K, top 1K is brilliant rank. I always lately I try and get top 100 now. That's my aim every season. I got 180th last year, and I think the season Fergi won, I got 19th. But
Yeah.
yeah, so top 100 is their aim at the moment. I'm 607th, so I'm gonna try and get that. And then once I get there, I'm gonna try and push on it again.
Yeah.
So
That's unbelievable. To have 3 seasons is class. We finished on the exact same points last season. We both
yeah,
finished 180th.
yeah,
But this year, you've hammered me this year. Fair play. To get that high 3 seasons on the trot is like mega impressive because it's such a difficult game. So,
cheers,
yeah,
mate.
well played, Ben. Well played.
Yeah. We'll boy about it. Well, I mean, the aim is to win it. You start off, don't you? You've got to go and try and win it.
I think there's enough variation at the start in Dream Team because of the Carabao, because of the the qualifiers.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
enough variation to actually go and really attack. Because I think the year I won it, I went for Calvert Lewin, which at the time, and I went for Havertz as 2 players I thought could do okay.
Yeah,
And Havertz got a hat trick midweek in the Carabao, and Calvert Lewin got 2 hat tricks in a week,
yeah,
one in the Carabao and one on the weekend. And they were very low owned because there's such a wider player pool in Dream Team that you can actually go for, isn't there? Because people are in the different cups. So I do think there's an opportunity right at the start to really, really go for it. And obviously, if you get that flying start, you kick on. Whereas in a lot of other games, especially FPL, it's difficult to be different, and it's difficult to like even now, right? If you were like, right, I want to try and fly up the rankings, FPL doesn't offer that same variation of of differential, in my view, because of the way the point scoring works and the way you, once the game's locked out, you're locked out. Whereas in Dream Team and the other in the other games, you really can go rogue, but you can make really good calculated moves, but still be safe in the knowledge you're not going to lose out to stupid effective ownership and stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, got to aim top 100's a nice aim to have. Start the season, you have a flying start, then you then start to push on and dream about winning it. Like Fergie.
Just to add to that, I've noticed that with FPL, I'm really struggling in FPL this year, and my team seems to be exactly the same as everybody else's. So I just seem to be like floating around. And I was 1.2, I'm like 1.2, 1.5, keep fluctuating there. But then, like in Telegraph, I'm in the top 500, Sky top 400, and Dream Team around 600th now. So I'm doing all right in them because you can react, like you said, to the games. But FPL is a bit
I
boring.
worked out. I wrote an article for the Hub a couple of seasons ago, and this is from memory, so it's very very rough. But in FPL, you have 80 decision points in a season. That's it. Whereas in Sky, for example, I think we worked out you had over like 500. So you're like 6 or 7 times more in control of your team.
Yeah.
Which is just insane, really, isn't it? It just shows me that they're the better games for engaged managers because you actually get to manage your own team, whereas FPL is just let's just use next week now as an example. People will be looking to load up on Man United and maybe a Leeds player, and everyone will captain Rashford. That's it. Whereas on Sky, you've got 3 or 4 different captaincy days. You can try different things. FPL, you just can't because if you don't captain Rashford, who is the best pick, obviously, for the weekend, and if he kicks off and you haven't captained him, you'll double your rank. So it's just a bit boring, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I play it just to tickle on. It's just one of them. I don't play it very seriously, FPL. Right, the De Bruyne discussion's back on. Lee Hooper, De Bruyne, no longer essential. Reckon, Ben?
Essential. I think he will become essential again next month. Well, if you can afford him. But yeah, I like I said, I moved off him for the Bruno move. It was a 6-3, so I got six goes of Bruno to De Bruyne's 3. I'm going to be definitely looking at getting him back in if I can for next month. So yeah, I think he will be essential again next month.
Yeah. Fergie?
Yeah, I don't think I've had him this season. Not because I haven't wanted him, I haven't been able to afford him. So I think I've been quite fortunate. But I do think the dynamic that Haaland gives them does largely make De Bruyne pretty ineffective in terms of fantasy points. So I haven't missed not having him in any well, I've had him in FPL, but I haven't had him in any of the others, and I haven't missed him. And but I do think that with the volume of games they will have coming up from say the middle of February, Haaland can't play every single game, and De Bruyne will go on some sort of spree. I think I think De Bruyne has actually been really unlucky, along with Darwin Núñez. I think they're the two players who've massively underperformed their XG and XA so far this season. So he has been quite unfortunate. So I don't think, again, there's any rush to get him in. But middle of February, hopefully he'll keep falling in price and become affordable. So yeah, I do think from middle of Feb onwards, I wouldn't say he's essential, but he'd be nice to have, so you know that going into any Man City game, he's there, and you don't have to worry about Man City scoring, and you're not having him. It's such a nice feeling when you've got them all. So for Man United now, for example, if anyone scores, apart from bloody Casemiro, you kind of know you're in the points somewhere, and I feel like that. Like when we move on to Man City, this is why I like going all in on teams, because you know that if anyone scores, you've probably got them. And I think there'll be a period soon for Man City where we will be looking at Mahrez, maybe even Grealish, right? Because at the moment he's in favour, and he'll be playing most games. So
yeah.
Foden
is on the naughty step by the looks.
He is.
He's sat there. There's quite a few of them there, isn't there? We can't show.
Unbelievable. That bench they had the other day for one of the matches.
Mental.
It's one of the greatest Premier League teams you could ever have, and it was Man City's bench. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah, unbelievable. De Bruyne is the 6th highest scorer in the game so far. He is ticking along. I think obviously for that money, you're expecting more, and we also obviously see how much Haaland obviously eating up all the goals. Takes his Star Man awards away and other stuff, but he's still ticking along all right. And I think once City hit that fixture volume,
he's expensive though, because he was over 7 million, wasn't he? Which is
7.2 million, I think.
That's a lot to pay for 5 points.
Yeah, it is. His points per million won't be very good.
5.2, I think it is over the season. I don't know about the last few.
I think over the last since Christmas, though, I'd be very surprised if it's over like 4.
Yeah,
very surprised.
Yeah.
He's got 17 assists in all competitions. It's just you only get 2 points in Dream Team.
This is it. And this is having the knowledge of the different games as well. Like assists are not really worth much in Dream Team, are they? They're worth a maximum of 5 points because it'll give you that tip you over the edge for the star rating. But 5 points is the same as a clean sheet for a defender without any star any rating. So I don't really look for assists in Dream Team, if I'm honest. I tend to look for clean sheets and goals, and maybe a rogue star rater, like someone like Thiago Silva, for example, and Trippier, those sorts of players. Adama a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just steal the Star Man awards. Yeah.
He's got 6-star mans as well, but that's why you said he's 6th highest point scorer, because it's like 6 goals, that isn't it? Really, he's only got 3 goals all season.
Yeah,
that's insane. Only 3 goals. It's crazy, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Yeah. Aman is asked about United block is the way to go for February. Covered that, mate. DT Patrick, Brighton are through in the cup, obviously knocking out Liverpool earlier today. So they have an extra fixture. They've scored 21 goals over 7 games, average of 3 a game. Are they worth jumping on? And are you looking at for differentials? What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, Brighton are doing brilliantly. I don't know if I'd go straight to them just because of the fixture count for United and City, but if didn't have a lot of money in my team, I'm definitely looking at Mitoma. 2.6, I think he is. I just had the 2.6. There's loads of value in the team. So Mitoma's 2.6, Solly March 2.8. In defence, you got Estupinan, who's 2.1. He's got 6 assists now. Dunk scored today, 1.8 million. So yeah, there's loads of value in the team.
Mitoma's less than 1% owned.
Yeah, he's the one, isn't he? He just looks unreal. I think he could keep the form going. I think Solly March is having a bit of a purple patch. To tell you the truth.
Yeah.
No, he didn't score any goals before the World Cup, and then suddenly he scored about 5 goals in the last few weeks. But yeah, I really like Mitoma. I think Patrick's on it, but he's been talking in the Discord about doubling up with March and Mitoma. I think that's a bit overkill because there's a lot of good midfielders in the game at the moment, and with cheap prices as well, with extra fixtures. So yeah, Mitoma's probably the one if you're going to pick one, Patrick, for me.
Yeah, Fergie.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Again, I'm a fixture volume player, so I'd probably only go for him if let's just say, I don't know, Salah finds his feet again, all of a sudden becomes essential, and you need Salah, Kane, and Haaland up front, and you just can't afford everyone. Then Mitoma is definitely one to kind of go for. But I'm a fixture volume person, and there's just teams like I said, Man United have got 8 fixtures to Brighton's 4 this month. I can't look past it. I can't look past fixture volume.
But
he's a great option, when he plays.
Yeah,
they've got 5 with the FA Cup 5th round, but and they've also got 2 possible games to be rearranged.
That's the thing is when the rearrangements fall. That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah. Is there any chance of that being announced this week? The Premier League rearranged games, because there's quite a few gaps now coming up.
I personally think they'll wait till after the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
So they can just, because obviously that'll affect Brighton as well. Because they play.
Meant to play Newcastle.
Newcastle. So I reckon they'll wait till after the Carabao and then have a big sort out, because everything will be in play then, won't it? So.
Yeah. We've got Bournemouth and who was the other team? Bournemouth and Palace to play, and obviously that Newcastle game will be rearranged, won't it, as well?
Yeah, and they've got Fulham as well at home, which is a good fixture. So the next 3 fixtures are really good. Home to Bournemouth, away to Palace, home to Fulham.
Yeah.
But sorry.
They've played them, but they've also got Bournemouth away, Palace away to be
the rearrangements to be made.
Yeah.
So when they cancel that, obviously if Newcastle get through to the final, which looks likely.
Yeah.
They're going to blank on that weekend, aren't they?
They could put a rearrangement in there.
Yeah.
I suppose this is the point of waiting till after that's confirmed, because they could put a rearranged game in there. I think it was maybe Palace.
Was it Palace?
I can't remember.
Palace got a game. Or did Palace?
Palace are playing Liverpool that weekend, so.
Well, maybe it's not Palace then.
Brentford have got United, Leeds, Southampton. They could end up blanking. The FA Cup is in the midweek of that.
Oh, it might be Brentford, sorry.
Is it Brentford?
Might be Brentford, maybe, because they've got United. Oh, I gave you bloody heart attack.
What's that?
The dog barking gave me a bloody heart attack. I don't want to expect it.
No,
it was all right. I was just thinking about Brentford, and then yeah. I thought James was on for a minute there.
That was. What have you just read there, Fergie, about the Brighton games?
So, according to Ben Crellin, Brighton either against I haven't got it up in front of me. I think it said Palace or Bournemouth, the two rearranged games.
Yeah.
They could be played in FPL game weeks 26 or 27, which is the week of the 4th of March or the week of the 11th of March. So it looks like Brighton won't have any more games being added in February, according to Sir Ben Crellin, who knows his stuff. So
yeah.
So there is the chance, like you say, unless they fill something else in there. Brighton only have the 4 games in the month because they'll have the 3 Premier League games, and the Newcastle game will get postponed, but then they'll play midweek in the FA Cup if Newcastle gets to the final. So
yes, that's right. Yeah,
I wouldn't go too heavy on Brighton. Midsommar's a good option. I wouldn't do any more than that. Fixture volume is key. Thanks everyone for the questions. If you have not signed up to our Patreon yet, get yourself across to patreon.com/DreamTeamTonic. Get yourself sign up there. Get into our Discord. Get all our exclusive articles and early access to the pod. Right, the mini league top 10s. Let's get these read through. So the Dream Team Tonic Cash League 23, top 10. In 10th, we've got Graham Payne. 9th, Dan Bartlam. 8th, Tom Brindley. 5th, joint 5th, 3 teams on 1476 is Andy Allett, Lee Watson and Stephen Williams. 4th, Tom Brindley again. 3rd, Andy Allett again. 2nd, Simon Davis. And top of the shop, yours truly, me. Happy days.
Massive score compared to everyone else, 31 points.
Yeah, finally just put the right team into one of the mini leagues.
Son differential.
Yeah. Give me a little bit of a boost there. Obviously, bumped me up to 8th overall. So
it's mad how lucky that is, isn't it? On the year I won it, it was my first team as well. So I was lucky because that's when I entered in all the mini leagues. If it was like my 4th team or something, my other team would have come nowhere. So it's mad how that works. Good work there, Tone. Flying.
It's definitely getting all my attention.
Yeah.
Next league is the DT Tonic Patron League. It's only accessible to patrons. In 10th, got Mark Warner. In 9th, me, Anthony Sutcliffe. In 8th, Tom Brindley. In 7th, Mark McKee. In 6th, Nicholas Steetham. In 5th, Jake Bevan. In 4th, Stephen Broughton. 3rd is Wayne Foster Crouch. 2nd, John Mellier. And still top of the shop, Lee Houghton. Played, mate. And over to the second chance Tonic Cash League for all those people who was we did a league obviously to try and give people something else to concentrate on. Obviously you can just have a refresh with your wild card. So Ben, do you want to read this one out? I see we're doing the top 11 this week.
All right, because James is there.
Yeah.
All right. James is in 11th, James Frickart. 10th place, we have Tom Brindley. 9th place, Stephen Holt. Joint 7th, Tom Brindley and Andrew Haynes. 6th place, Andrew Haynes. 5th place, Phil Russo. Joint 3rd, we have Anthony Sutcliffe and Anthony Sutcliffe.
Get in.
In 2nd, we have me, Ben Lee. And top of the shop with his differential, Anthony Sutcliffe. Took me off the top spot again.
Sorry, mate.
You're going to win it all, mate. It's going to win everything.
Yeah. You're cleaning up. Look, pair you.
Yeah, I'm not in the Patreon Cup, though.
Yeah, we're all out of that now, aren't we?
I didn't even score a point in like 7 league games in the group stages. Didn't even score a point.
It's the... Is it the cash week this week, isn't it?
It
for
is the game week cash week for the
Yeah.
Tonic Cash League as well. So the biggest score of the week, win yourself £50.
I bet you're top of that as well.
I think I am with my Leicester block. It's not gonna last there though. Obviously the Newcastle
That
blocks are gonna.
son punters done off well helped you out this week.
It has. When I did it, I thought he's just gonna go tits up this, but you'll only live once, don't you? Like, let's. I might not be in a position as good as this. Sat in 20th. I thought might not be in a position as good as this for a long time.
He who dares wins.
That's it.
And all that.
Yeah, went for it. And Sonny did me good. We've got the replays of the quarterfinals. 2 quarterfinals went through to a replay in the Patron Cup. So that's been played out this week. 2 people that have made it through to the semi-finals already: Tom Brindley and Aman Tatler. So yeah, we'll find out what game week they'll be being played in. Hopefully there isn't another replay. Keep dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. We'll never get the quarterfinals finished. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. Got through it. I'm going straight to bed. We'll have the early access up straight away now for the patrons. Thanks for coming on, Fergie. It's always a pleasure to have you on, mate.
Thank you, gents. Enjoyed as usual. See you next month.
See you
Thanks,
next month,
Fergie.
mate.
Yep, see you next month.
You'll be top next month, Tone. None of this 8th rubbish. You'll be top next month.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully.
Let's hope.
Fingers crossed.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment. Yeah, we appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.